Hi, welcome to the Get Ready with God podcast. My name is Julie Taylor, and I am your host, and I am not God. Obviously, I am not an expert. I'm not even a scriptorian. I'm literally just a girl sitting in front of a microphone, hoping God is real. The Get Ready with God podcast is the daily devotional podcast to help you see divinity in every day. And I do mean you specifically. And that's what I'd like to talk about today is you and your relationship with the divine, with God. I think it is so great how many resources we have and that everyone can share their faith, can share their experience, can share their thoughts. It's really great. We have more resources than we've ever had before. And the flip side of that is that have experienced getting so caught up in all of this other stuff that I forget sometimes to invest in my relationship, specifically with God personally. And so I can listen to so and so talk about the Bible, and I can listen to so and so's take on whatever. And it's interesting and it's good. And these are all good things. But I can sometimes replace my own personal investment in my own relationship with God with these other things. And so I just wanted to ground myself today because I think culturally we can get a little too far removed from our own personal relationship with God. And this is really, really key, not just for success spiritually, but for success in life, because often we are going to be called or directed or forced into living differently than the people around us. Our life circumstances aren't going to line up. Our values aren't going to line up. Our goals aren't going to line up. And so to tread that path, to blaze a new path, to live differently than maybe your family has lived, to live differently than your friends are living, it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of grounding and alignment. And I know those are buzzwords, and I don't mean to use it in a word salad way. What I mean is to live the way that you want to live, that you think that you should live, the way that you feel called to live when it's not popular, when it goes against the grain, when it's not the way that everybody around you is living. It can get really confusing and it can be scary. And so when I say it takes intention and alignment, what I mean is you have to regularly check in with yourself and I think with God to say, is this what I should be doing? Is this what I want to be doing? Are we on the right trajectory here? Because it's uncomfortable. There's going to be a lot of FOMO. There's going to be a lot of people misunderstanding you potentially when you're not just walking on a path that's already been lit up and cleared for you. It's a different experience. And I think a lot of us are in that situation where we are creating a new way. We're paving a new path. We're blazing a new trail, if you will. So I feel like we live in a time and we live in a place and a situation where a lot of us are making our own way, and we even feel called and really driven to create a new way and to do things differently than maybe they've done before, and maybe differently than the way popular culture is doing them. And that is going to require sacrifice and discomfort. And those things, I think, require divine support. And so the only way really to get really clear on what you value and the way that you want to be living is to have a personal relationship with God. And so I'm so happy that you listen to this podcast. I really hope that I'm not replacing your daily prayer and your daily worship and your daily communion with God on a personal level. I love discussing topics with you here. I really hope that you're never taking my word as gospel or my opinion as the right one. This is meant to ignite your own study, your own discovery, your own prayer, your own path, your own recognition of divinity in your own life, because that is so key. We're doing things differently than they've been done. We're doing things differently than the people around us are doing them. We've got to have divine guidance in that to be strong enough, to be brave enough, to be resilient enough, and to have the stamina. Without a personal connection to a divine source, I don't think living is sustainable right now, especially not living in a way that is new and different and intentional and aligned with your values. We require divine guidance. We require divine support, and that is found on a personal level. I spent over a year attending AA meetings twice a week. And in those meetings, I was exposed to a lot of different belief systems. I was exposed to people who were atheists, but subscribed to a higher power for the purpose of the program. I was exposed to many different Christian religions, very different from how I was raised. And I really loved it. I loved learning from them. And after that year of spending time with all of these different faith and belief systems, the thing that I came down to, the one thing that was most important in all of it, in all the different faiths and systems of belief and spirituality, even, the one thing that mattered most was a personal relationship with the divine. And I know for some atheists, that can just be a higher power. That doesn't have to be God. It can be whatever you want it to be. And maybe you're exploring that right now, not quite sure what you are subscribing to, not quite sure how you are defining that divine presence in your life. And I want to support and encourage you on that path. As you do that, prioritize the personal, seek on a personal level, use all these resources around you, gather data, have the conversations, be inspired, but always take it back to the personal. That personal relationship can be the thing that doesn't waver in your life, the thing that's not threatened by other people's differences and opinions and conflict, the thing that guides you when you feel confused and lost and not sure what to do next, the thing that supports you in the hopeless times. That personal relationship has to be prioritized above all else. How you choose to invest in that will look different for each person because it's personal. For me, it looks like prayer. I study scriptures of various types. I like to listen to podcasts and speeches from faith-based and religious leaders. I like to serve in my church and my community, and I like to try to spend quiet time in nature openly to receive and connect. I know we've already talked about this, I think, before this week, but when you make these personal investments in this personal relationship, it might not always be a direct line from I prayed, I felt this, I built the relationship. I think a lot of these things take time and they take consistency. So whatever thing you want to choose to invest in, make sure that it's sustainable. Make sure it's something that you can be consistent in. So don't dive in and say, okay, from now on, I'm going to listen to 4 spiritual podcasts and I'm going to journal every day and then I'm going to have quiet time and then I'm going to meditate. Like, that's likely not sustainable to jump right into. So just pick one thing. I'm going to say one prayer every day. I'm going to spend 4 minutes reading the Bible. I don't even know. Pick something that is simple and sustainable because consistency will yield and grow and develop and connect you in that personal way to the divine in a way that one-off efforts won't. I'm not going to get too prescriptive on this podcast, so I'm not going to tell you what to do or what to avoid. But in my experience, huge grand gestures, like I'm going to attend a spiritual retreat for a week and I'm going to pay $10,000 and I'm going to go into the mountains and commune with the divine. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do. I just don't think that it's necessary. And I definitely don't think it's a place that you should start. And so choose something that is simple and sustainable and look for that yield through consistency rather than grand gestures. Simple, sustainable efforts will build your personal relationship with the divine. So start there. Try it. Let me know what you're trying. Let me know what works for you. Love you so much. Bye.